Thank you, Madam Sadaf, for your time and your great talk. इस बात पे हम fully agree करते हैं कि these are tough times, but then these tough times are also bringing us a window of opportunity as well. And the learning and the process of learning should never stop. In my particular view, today learning is hybrid and it's multimodal as well. So there is no fixed rule that how learning will be happening. अगर आज हमारे schools जो हैं, if they are opened up and the classes are happening at a regular pace, so obviously we will be going to schools and we'll be taking those classes. ये एक unfortunate circumstances है हमारे सामने जहाँ पे schools are closed and classes are not happening. And this is where Microsoft, on the global scale, we have launched this remote learning campaign. Excuse me. SCF has been part of this campaign since past 8 months now. And in the first wave of COVID, we really helped the schools, the teachers, the students, and the SCF staff and faculty to gear up people on the remote learning process. Microsoft Teams एक डिजिटल क्लासरूम टूल है. आज उसके बारे में जो कॉलीग्स यहाँ पे मौजूद हैं, राने, वकास, डैन, they'll be speaking a lot about Microsoft Teams, and you will not be only seeing presentations coming out, बल्कि आपको लाइव डेमो देखने को मिलेगा और उसमें आप basically you can learn that how you can effectively use a tool like Microsoft Teams in your classroom. Now we have entered into the phase 2 of COVID and schools are again closed. And this is where we again wanted to reiterate on our approach and our commitment to Sindh government that Microsoft is there backing up the entire process again, and our team is there. So whatever trainings, programs, readiness, whatever is needed, that will be provided unconditionally by Microsoft to the schools in Sindh. With that, I would again want to thank you, Madam Sadaf, for your support and commitment to this initiative. So the next speaker in line is Mr. Hanif Channa, who is the Chief Program Manager at RSU, Government of Sindh. And Hanif Saab is also working on these technology and digital interventions and planning for some future programs and initiatives. So that's why we have invited Hanif Saab to share his thoughts and brief the audience. So within 1 minute, I will send the stream live. Thank you. Sir, you are live now.
Thank you, Gibran. Assalamu alaikum, distinguished panelists, my fellow colleagues representing different organizations working in education sector, my colleagues from Sindh Education and Literacy Department, our hosts, our stakeholders like UNICEF and others. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. It's indeed a pleasure to be talking to you all, and at the outset, I'm thankful to Microsoft for organizing this event and providing us an opportunity to think about this online learning and blended learning issues and the way forward, given that education department throughout the developing countries are having multiple disparities. There are regional disparities, there are technological gaps, there are learning gaps, and Microsoft's this event, in my opinion, has opened a window for all of us to think about how to resolve all those capacity gaps. If we see the education sector in Sindh and the availability of infrastructure and different tools where we could provide quality education, only around 15% of households have computers. And around 33 or 34% population has access to internet. And if we take out the urban areas, unfortunately, the situation in vast rural areas is very grave. Pakistan Standards and Living Measure PSLM's data suggests that only 7% in population in rural Sindh has access to laptop and different devices, which can be used for accessing online learning. Not only these gaps, as far as the learning outcomes are also involved, there are huge regional gaps within the provinces, within the regions in a province and different districts. So this Microsoft's initiative, in my opinion, has given all of us an opportunity to think about what could be multiple options available to the education service providers, especially the government of Sindh. As I shared, like majority of the developed countries, even they were not well prepared. How are we going to handle this pandemic? So likewise, being a developing country, Pakistan and especially Sindh is also was struggling how to provide some of the avenues to our students so that they could at least remain in touch with their educational activities, and they could be engaged in such a way that a precious time of the students is not wasted. And given this situation, it was very heartening to see that Microsoft came forward and they played a very proactive role, suggesting different options to the education department and the different service providers. It's not just education department itself, I understand, like Sadaf just shared. They played a very prominent role in training the teachers. And let me confess, when this training program was being planned, with this given that we never had any extensive online training opportunities for our teacher to this scale, it was amazing the response we got from some of our teachers, not only within the SEF, IRC, or other people, whoever we taught, their response was overwhelming. And and I personally believe that by providing this service, Microsoft is not only creating some business opportunities for itself, but we believe that they are helping creating a huge social capital. They are creating huge value within the society, which I'm sure will definitely play its role in not only bridging those capacity gap, not only bridging those learning parties and different gender gaps. With onset of COVID, if we go by the data, the different sections of society are more vulnerable to this pandemic than others, especially the girls. If you see the gender parity, unfortunately, I'm afraid if we don't adopt alternate mode of reaching out to our students, there is a likely huge risk for girls to being left out. For boys, within this pandemic, for boys, there is still different options available. But for girls, once they are not within the classroom environment, it's difficult for her to have access to education. So with this different capacity gaps and disparities, which are unfortunately being unfolded in front of us, I personally believe Microsoft has a leadership role to play. And at the moment, I do see their dominant role in online learning in the province. And let me thank their team for being so proactive. And let me thank our colleagues from Education Department, Dr. Fauzia, Sadaf from SEF, Shapara from SEF, and other partners from UNICEF, who have been always willing to help us out. And given this initiative undertaken by Microsoft, our other stakeholders are also coming forward. Yesterday, I had a meeting with Huat Foundation, and they are working on a model to live telecast classes. And I have requested them, and they are piloting it at the moment from their NJV school to their satellite schools. And I requested them to take few more schools from SEF as a pilot, few more schools where UNICEF's intervention on early child education is there. So let's try a different model and see how things improve and how we can reach out. We understand that some of the gaps I shared, it's unfortunately difficult to bridge them overnight. And what we can at the moment do is let's start exploring all those options and avenues which are available to us. So Microsoft's this lead role is not only helping shaping a new field within the education sector in the province, but they are also empowering different stakeholders. And different partners are forthcoming, and this situation, and I'm happy to share that we have some offers from regional language channels like KTN, who are willing to give us 5 to 6 hours daily for running online classes. So let me thank Gibran and his team for being so proactive and helping us out, especially in bridging some of the gaps in the technology. Like Sadaf mentioned, initially we were a bit apprehensive given that we have very outdated infrastructure, we have outdated models of teaching. We were a bit apprehensive that whether this Microsoft initiative will be well received by our teachers, our headmasters, and or not. And I'm happy to share, like Sadaf just mentioned, that the response has been very positive and proactive. And this has encouraged us to explore and reach out to other donors. I understand World Bank is working on Aspire project, and one of the major chunk of that project is helping out and phasing out this online learning initiative in the provinces. So there, I do believe that Microsoft can play a very proactive and important role. And the best part about Microsoft's initiative as someone working in education sector is that their approach is more collaborative rather than competitive. They are willing, they are flexible, they are helping us out. It's not just zero-sum game. It's a win-win situation. They are helping, creating value. It's not just they are looking for only business. So I'm very happy about their approach, and let me congratulate your top management and regional management as well. The second thing is that since Microsoft is a first mover in the field in Pakistan, especially in Sindh, and they are playing leadership role, I do believe there is huge potential for all of us to sit together and prepare a workable strategy, which is, I would suggest, it's a long term to medium term, so that we can attend to these different gaps. With this, I conclude, and let me thank all of you for being part of it, Gibran, especially Gibran and our UNICEF team, SEF, Dr. Fawzia, and other colleagues. Thank you so much.